Tree's adventure, making new friends. It opens this way. I worked for 3 years on these pictures. It was very difficult. I'll never use paint again. This was acrylics. It was very difficult. It's hard to keep the consistency of the colors. So you can purchase that on Facebook at my Facebook store, Tree's Adventure Making New Friends Facebook. Christy Montgomery. This is Mrs. Small, and she's about to do her drawing. So you can see, I can get my computer to balance. Yeah, just like that. Move these out of the way. Alright, so this is obviously the letter D, my first letter D page. I did it and I didn't like it, so I redid it. And this one reads, dogs do a dippy donut dance down Dog Bone Drive when Dom the duck delivers donuts. But I wanted to include ducks, so I thought, oh, we'll make him a driver of the vehicle. And I just realized something here that needs to be done. We need to have this, because it's got his windows open. He needs a line through here. My dump truck is not the greatest, but well, it works. Gets the idea across anyway. So, I don't know, some of you like me talking and some of you would rather listen to music. So, I don't know if I may add music to this. Maybe I'll post both of them. I'll post one with music and one without. Excuse me. Oh. So, this kind of reminds me of my neighborhood. I grew up on a street that was similar to this. Of course, it was wider, but I grew up in Cupertino. Now, even though you don't see it, there are donuts here. I'm making like a donut pile here, so I have to go in and make little donuts, but I'm going to do that last, so this is going to be like a mound, excuse me, of donuts. And I don't know, I might get tired of making these little circles. I have to kind of give you the idea that there's donuts. I have it on the original drawing. So I take that drawing and then I use the Mylar and trace it with the India ink. This India ink, I think it's okay. It dries really slow, so if you make a mistake, you can erase it, which is kind of nice. I didn't like it at first, but when you make some mistakes and you don't want to have to start all over, it kind of helps. So it's Faber-Castell, and this size is extra small. So the tip is pretty narrow. What to do first now? The color scheme is always something that, boy, I feel like I'm going to fall asleep on y'all. Wake up, I need some coffee. The color scheme is something that is very important. I was thinking making the truck blue. And maybe his shirt, a similar color. Green, green, green. This will be probably the dark green because it's representing the street signature on the street. And they'll be with fur, so he may be patches, and he may just be all brown. And the little guy may be like a lighter brown. A little contrast good with the green. The ducks, I don't know, maybe I'll just keep them white. And of course the tires will be black. This whole area, it's meant to be a street, so I mean most streets are black, so it'll probably be like this gray. And that'll contrast well with the brown and the blue. I'll probably make him light. Maybe I'll make him light and him a little darker. And then the donuts with the icing could be different colors, or, you know, like glazy with color sprinkles on it or something like that. So, I think I'll start with the boring basics, and I'll speed this all up so it's not that boring. I hope. I wish I could use both pencil and ink. I bought some Prism color, sorry. But I have been faithful to the pencils this whole journey, so I might as well stay faithful. It would be fun to do mixed media art at some point, but we'll see. Another book, maybe. Another book! Aren't you getting sick of this? I have written down a lot of story ideas, and you know, when I was raising my kids, I always came up with stories. Like one time I told them a story about, they love this one, about, we had Oreo cookies, so I was saying, well, at nighttime when everyone's asleep, the Oreo cookies come on out of the cookie jar and, you know, have an adventure. And they were about 3 and 5, I think, when I was telling them this one. And then the protagonist was the cat, because he was chasing the cookies around. And the cookies got on the piano keys, and you know, there was a big ruckus, and I really liked that part. Lots of laughter. Those were the days. That's why I became a preschool teacher, because I missed having little kids around. And they give me such joy. And I can only work half days because I have an autoimmune disease, and it affects me to where I can only work about 4.5 hours a day. Unfortunately, but at least I can do something. And after 4 hours on my feet, I'm so tired. I mean, when you're a preschool teacher, you're on the go. You get 10-minute break. I get a 10-minute break, and which feels like a minute. And you know, we've got a lot of kids. I'm at a Montessori, and every child has something going on. Most of them are really good. There's some new greenies that are, I call them greenies, new to the school, and so they're learning kind of how the ropes go, you know, what we do. And it's a slow process, but we'll get there. They'll get there. They learn so quickly, and they just pick it up. And one of the hard things is trying to keep the older kids that know, you know, the routine. Sometimes they'll get sloppy, and they'll throw the toys in the bucket instead of putting them in there. Well, and of course the little ones think they can throw. So I have to tell the older ones to be like, big brother, big sister, and help teach her out by, making good choices so that the other kids will emulate them. And I say these big words, but I always tell them what it means. It means like copy you, Some of them will say, what does that mean? I don't want to talk down to kids. I think they're so smart. And they're like little sponges now. They pick up lots of things. Bad habits and good ones. So beware, parents. As you know, as you have more, the dynamics change, and then every child, it's a little bit different. And I only had 2. My sister has 2, and then she adopted 2. She had 2 girls and then adopted 2 boys from China. And they each had something wrong with them, so she's kind of got that to deal with as well. I'm so proud of her. I would have loved to have done that, but my life kind of fell apart. So my kids went off to college, and my husband and I weren't making it happen, and we had too many financial issues and things like that, and so we divorced, and it was a good thing, I think, for me. It definitely was hard, but it was, it pushed me to choose some things for me and not just being a mommy, I did work a little bit when I was raising the kids, but I really wanted them to have a parent with them, and I think that because I didn't get that, my mom worked and she was divorced, so it was difficult. My brother and I were a year apart, and it was like we were, back then, he'd play with the neighbor kids down the street and everybody. It's amazing that something major didn't happen to us as far as, whatever. But like I said, it was a different world back then, and things are a lot different now. Kind of the neighborhood parents would look out for one another, and we do that too, but I don't know, when that whole thing kind of it just happens so gradually, now all the little kids have play dates and things like that. If they do, it's really, my kids did, they had a few play dates. But, it was one of my main enjoyments in life was raising my children. And my husband was very old school, so he wasn't, I was kind of the primary caregiver. I was in charge of a lot of things, and anything that had to do with the home. And the finances, which was hard, paying the credit cards and all that rest of it. So, but I managed, and my kids are great. My daughter she's in Germany right now. She was the first to go to college, and she went to Davis. She applied for several colleges, and she chose Davis, and she chose microbiology, which was wonderful. And now she's in Germany working on her PhD. She's only, how old she is? Oh gosh, how old is she? She is, she was born in 92, so that's what, 27, and my son is 25, and she's doing great. She's got her own little place, and she says she's loving it. And she's got other international students, doing the program too. So, and of course she has a boyfriend. And my son, God bless him, he is he's still in the Bay Area, and he went to Boston University and studied computer science. Well, my kids are pretty smart kids. I don't think I could have ever done that. But they had the best schools growing up. They really did. They were very well taken care of. And I did the best I could, until they outsmarted me and I couldn't help them do their homework. That was about 3rd grade. No, maybe 5th or 6th grade. With math, anyway. I'm not very good at math. I just rambling on here. Anyway, so I was very fortunate there was fortunate stuff happening and non-fortunate stuff going on at the same time. And whenever you start up companies, I tell you, you don't have a lot of patience and a lot of money, time, and effort. Oh my gosh, don't even go there. Unless you have really strong backers. My son is actually working for a startup company, and he's thinking about maybe leaving it. He's been there for about 3 years, and he doesn't feel like his contribution is amounting to much, and he wants something a little more challenging, I think. He likes his coworkers and everything. It's just that the efforts kind of get, I don't know, just dismantled at times, and then he feels like, oh, I don't feel like there's enough organization going on, and so anyway, that's all I can really tell you. But he's enjoying life, and I'm so proud of him. I miss him a lot, and I just try to keep myself busy, so if they call me once a week, I'm happy. And some people think, oh, that's a lot, but I'm their mama, and they better. I need to hear from them, they're doing well. And especially if they aren't, just a little phone call doesn't kill you guys. Keep your parents up to date with what's going on. I mean, my goodness, we raised you, didn't we? It was a lot of work. So, there's my road. I'm going to smooth it out with, this is just a paper. It's a piece of rolled paper. It's for just smoothing. Let's see if this works. Kind of pushes the crayon into the Mylar. This Mylar is not the best Mylar, and I think that's why I'm having some trouble